I've asked one of my good friends, Joey, to come in and talk to us a bit about that long-term investment and what it's meant for him. Tell us a little bit right off the bat, or I know you have kind of an order, but I always like to establish right up front who's doing the talking. If you
Sure.
notice, when we go to our big events, we always have their numbers up
Yeah.
on the board behind us. So if you could just start out by sharing that with us about your organization and what it took to, and then we'll talk more about what it took to get there.
Sure. So I've been as of January. My name is Joseph Satariano, not Sophia. My wife uses my office. I apologize. But I've been with eXp as of January 1st. It's 4 years. And first came on board, I was with Keller Williams for 10 years. I was with Remax for 5. And when I came over, I was blessed with the opportunity. I had like 23 people that had followed me because I was always out there training and investing, as Barry's doing, investing in people, right? People ended up following me. So I had about 23 people that had come with me, and I really wasn't doing anything with attraction. I really wasn't, and then I remember 3 months later after I started, I was having breakfast with my wife, and I was like, oh my gosh. She goes, well, it looks like you saw a ghost. I said, $1,409 was deposited in my account. This works. Everything they've been telling me works. And I still didn't get it because, I'm Italian Portuguese, so I got a really hard head. It took me really honestly, guys, it took me about 1.5 years to say, I'm going to run with this. I'm going to run with this. So we have 240 people in the organization. And we are doing, and I'll share my numbers as far as my dashboard for attraction in a little bit, but we have those numbers, and really honestly, we're halfway through to me retiring from real estate if I wanted to, really am. So what I'm hoping to encourage you guys with today is, if you're just in production and you haven't started into agent attraction, then I just want to give you some tools. But most importantly, I want you to think about it this way. When you first got into real estate, it was you had your job, right? 9 to 5 for most people. And then real estate was kind of a side hustle, right? And then you get into real estate. So when you think of agent attraction, I want you to think of as your real estate business, as your 9 to 5, and as your attraction, as your side hustle. Does that make sense? Because write this down. Real estate is your short game, okay? Revenue share is your long game. Right? It's going to take a little time for your long game to catch up with your short game. But guys, I'm telling you, when it gets to a point when your long game starts catching up with your short game, you now have a profitable business. Your real estate business is now instantly profitable because now you can pay for staffing with that revenue share. You can pay off your house. You could maybe expand your business, right? Maybe that you use that extra revenue for marketing. But guys, I'm telling you, it really is wake up money. It really is, right? And the great part of it is when you're out there and you're learning how to sell homes, and you're going out there selling more homes, there's an agent on the other side of every transaction. Okay, that's all the good news. Here's the bad news. Bad news is this: now it's time to take your real estate service that you provide the brokerage community. Now it's time to take that service to a whole nother level. Now it's time to be an amazing real estate agent, which will invite you to have that conversation. Oh my gosh, Barry, it was great working with you. I really enjoyed that transaction. I love how you had such high levels of integrity. You did what you say you were going to do. And man, it was a smooth transaction. So Barry, I'm just curious, have you heard about this model that's changing the industry? Does that make sense? Because I had a good level of service, the agent on the other side is a natural conversation for us to have. Does that resonate with you guys? So the more houses you're selling, ultimately, the more conversations you can have with attraction.
Hold on just a second, Joey. We have to welcome somebody to the call.
Sure.
Hey, who is that just joined you, Marina?
Amir.
What is his name?
Amir.
Amir. I just heard a guy speak yesterday that was named Amir. And if your son grows up to be as smart as that guy was, you're going to be pretty, and I'm expecting he will be. He's going to be a force to reckon with. So I'm glad he's soaking in this knowledge from Joey today. Marina, this is Joey, and he's telling us a little bit about his story.
So here I am 4 years later. Nice to meet you, Marina. Here I am 4 years later, and we got some we now have a lot of traction. We have anywhere between 4 and 8% of people that are added to the organization. Let me just give you kind of some numbers. That means between 5 and 15 people are joining our organization every month that we haven't even met. We have to constantly get on the phone and say, hi, welcome to our organization. So you start building an asset and you really start owning a business. And guys, it's incredible. It's incredible to just for this opportunity, because let's face it, you can sell houses anywhere you're at. But the best part of our organization and EXP is now Glenn cared about us enough that he wanted to invite us into building an extraordinary business and extraordinary life. So today I'm going to go over the 4 R's of agent attraction, 4 R's. Okay, I'm a coach for Icon Coaching, Sean Kokoska, and this is one of his belief systems, and I've attributed, and I really believe it's going to help you guys out. Okay, our number 1 is recruiting. You're always in a state of recruiting. What does that mean? You're looking for people that want to buy a home. You're looking for people that want to sell a home, and you're looking for people that want to get in business with you. You're looking to invite people into this community that Barry has, that Brent has, this amazing community that we have so they can experience what you experience. So you're always on the prowl, buyer, seller, or somebody to get into business with, right? And again, it's also stepping up your service, getting out there, talking to people, caring about the agents that you work with in transactions enough to want them to, be invited in this. Just that lead generation, that extra little piece. The second R is retention. Retention, right? So if you're building an organization, that the retention is making sure they're getting to Barry's team meetings, they're getting to Brent's team meetings on Thursday. That retention part of it, getting them plugged in, getting them indoctrinated into all the systems that we have. And let me digress. Let me go back to that first R. The recruiting part of it might be a scary word for a lot of you. So I want you to know that these events that we're putting on, this is a great place for you just to invite people over where it doesn't feel like recruiting. They're just trying it on for size. That makes sense. You want to create in the mind of the agent. This is what you want to create. Oh my gosh, this is what I need. They're not giving me this where I'm at. That's the unspoken conversations you want to create in the minds of the brokerage community when you're inviting him in. So if you're intimidated by picking up the phone or asking him about that, invite him to it. Invite him to the events, and then introduce him to Barry. Introduce him to Brent, you know what I mean? And let us help you do the recruiting, okay? So let's go to the next one. The retention part of it is getting, you stay plugged in, right? Because your organization is only, as you start to grow, your organization is only going to get plugged in if they see that you're plugged in. Right. The retention part of it is constantly adding value to their real estate business. Right. Most people that are in real estate, when you're bringing this model to them, okay, right. Think about this. They're not thinking about a move. They're not thinking about leaving their company. You know what they're thinking about? Where their next transaction is going to come from. That's what's keeping them up at night. They're thinking about the market change. They're thinking about, am I going to be able to survive this? Experts show that 30% of agents are going to leave the industry. Right? So get them plugged in. Get them plugged into Barry. Get them plugged into Brent's trainings. Get them plugged into these events that we're going so we can help them survive the transition and thrive in there. Okay. The third R is reproduction. Reproduction. That's the third R in agent attraction. What does that mean? Right? Well, Brent has given us a great solid foundation of throwing events. He's given us a model that he used to build. All we got to do is reproduce what he's done. All we got to do is copy what he's done, right? I plug into the events that he has at Placer County, the free events every month. Were you guys, how many of you were at the event with Kim Frazier just recently, last Thursday? It was amazing. Oh my gosh, it was incredible. You know what I mean? So, these are people that are like in the state of Washington. And she had so much to share. So in that reproduction part of it is just learning to attend the events and teaching people to attend. And eventually you'll bring in your own speakers. You'll bring in your own trainings. You'll have your own meetings. But the reproduction part of it is huge because how you decide to attract somebody over to the organization is how they're going to attract. Does that make sense? How they see that you invite them to be part of it is how they're going to do it. I had the honor to attract Paul Frank over to the organization. He's been in commercial real estate for over 40 years. And it's so funny. To this day, Paul will call me and ask me a question about attraction. You know what I tell him? Paul, what did I do with you? He goes, well, you just invited me there. Let's do the same thing, Paul. Because that's what because check it out. If you attract somebody that way, right, and they came, do they have buy-in? Say yes. They have buy-in, right? So if they have buy-in because they said yes, then they're going to have buy-in with that same system or that same just duplicating what you showed them. And that's what I tell Paul all the time. It's so, and he's to this day. So just really be conscious of the fact of we're entrepreneurs, and and honestly, there's bad news, there's good news and bad news to that. The good news is we have hustle in our step, right? For the most of us, those of us that are here, right, that are investing in us. But the bad news is we want to over-engineer everything. Everything wants to be, there's got to be an easier way. No. Just follow the way that Brent did it. Follow what Gene Frederick taught us. Just follow it. It's that easy. It's that easy. So I want to give you guys some homework because we're our fourth R in your business plan. In your business plan that you have, business plan is only good until you come up with the next best idea. Well, I'm going to shatter your business plan. I want you to put in your business plan how many events you are committed to attend in the next 12 months. Placer County Association of Realtors, every event that Brent puts on there, I'm there. I'm there at 8 o'clock in the morning, saving 40 to 50 seats. You know why? Because 40 to 50 people are going to come. Usually it's about 30 of them are people in our organization and about 20 of them are guests. So that should be in your business plan. Inviting somebody to go to that local event, inviting somebody to get plugged into the Thursday team meetings, whether that might be virtual, whether that might be in person, right? You got shareholders, you have build coming up, just get them plugged in. If you can just get them to the events, it's just a natural piece for them to decide to come over. They just end up coming over, right? Barry was invited to the event and look where he's at, right? That's the key of it. And I'm going to go to the fourth R, and the fourth R is revenue. Guys, that's the one that you really want to think about. Revenue is the main deal. If a house isn't sold, no one's getting revenue share, right? So focusing on revenue. So depending on where your finances are, depending on where your business is, you, as Brent has said, sometimes we just have to buckle down and get out there and do our open houses and really just focus on what it's going to take to make sure that our bills are met, right? And in this business, all you got to do is work. And when you work, you get paid. You work long enough. Sometimes you got to work long enough to get paid until your skill level gets where it needs to be, right? But I just want to encourage you that you have all the resources at your fingertips, right? I've known Barry for a long time. Barry's a rock star when it comes to selling real estate. Barry can make it happen. He can teach you how to close. He can teach you how to do rock star open houses. I mean, he was trained under Brent. He's a rock star. You guys are in really good hands working with Barry, because I know that by experience. I've seen him. I've seen his growth through the years, and now he's like looking at it saying, I got all this wisdom and I got all this knowledge. I need to go out there and I need to invest in other people. No, really, honestly, because here's the thing. If the most houses I ever sold personally were about 65 without a team. So that means I could go teach other agents how to sell 10, 20, 30. How many agents out there right now do you think want to learn how to sell 25 homes? So we could give them the wisdom. We could change their life. What if you met agents that were selling like 5 or 6 homes a year, and you just plugged them into what Barry was doing, and we got them from 5 to 6 to 12? Would that change their life? Remember you had a job, right? And you went from one job to the next and your income doubled. You're like, man, I'm rich. I can get a new car now, right? Go out to nicer restaurants. The same thing is, guys, the revenue part of it is where you're invested to helping people live a changed life. Does that make sense? Because you get to change your life. Guys, my life will forever be changed. Every morning I wake up and I'm not wondering, do I have to go get a sale? I'm wondering, how can I help the agents in my organization? How can I help people in the brokerage community experience what I've experienced? And the last question is there a buyer or seller out there that I can help? That's the order right now. I love real estate, but when you start building your revenue share group, you can say yes to the clients you want to work with. Write this down, please. Work with clients that you love and it doesn't feel like work. Work with clients that you love to work with and it never feels like work. Oh my gosh. When you work with people you don't love, man, it's hard. It's hard. They're not pleasant, right? They don't allow you to lead them. They don't respect your expertise a lot of times. So that's important. So I want to invite you guys to get a little bit closer into what we're doing, because I'm a coach with Do you have, first of all, you guys have any questions on any of that first? Any questions on any of the 4 R's? No? Not one question? Barry, do you have a question?
It's just a little bit about how you switch from that conversation about the transaction. How do you bring in EXP? They've all heard it. You
Sure.
know, they're just kind of, don't talk about EXP. I heard a guy, Amir, yesterday said he had 15 people talk to him about EXP before Tom Daves talked to him about EXP. So
Yeah.
what do you think the difference is between the Tom Daves conversation versus those other 15 people?
Well, I think there's a couple things. So let's go back to kind of the dialogue on the person on the other side of the transaction, because I think that's one of the easiest ones, Barry, because you've already built rapport and trust on how you delivered service. Hey Barry, I really I got to tell you, it's been great working with you on 123 Main Street. I've done transactions through the years, and you really stood out. Your integrity, your work ethic, and I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to doing more transactions in the future. Just got a question for you, Barry. Have you been exposed to the value that our model is bringing the brokerage community? Say yes. Say yes. You've heard of it.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of EXP.
Okay, so you've heard of it. Great. So has somebody actually sat down with you and showed you the 4 different ways you can earn stock and the 8 different ways you can earn revenue?
I'm always trying to get people recruiting me.
What's that?
I'm always trying to get people recruiting me. I don't want to leave my company. I'm happy here.
No, absolutely. And you know what? Maybe the idea of you leaving, we'll just put that on the shelf. Let me ask you, Barry, has somebody actually sat you down and showed you how we compensate our agents 8 different ways?
Well, no, I don't think so. I've heard of the rev share.
Yeah. What would be a good time for me to sit down with you for about 15, 20 minutes, and I can share with you, spell out the 8 different ways we compensate agents? And I mean, I got to tell you, Barry, that just when you understand the model completely, we're increasing the net worth of agents, we're increasing their stock portfolio, and we're giving them a retirement plan if they choose. So what would be a good time, mornings or afternoons?
Oh, that sounds good. Let's do mornings.
Yeah. And that's really what it is, guys. All you want to do is just wake them up for a moment. Because here's the thing. Here's the hardest part. This is why the resistance comes into place. Guys, the only thing that they're used to doing is keeping their eye on finding a buyer or seller. They're on 100% commission. We're on 100% commission. You're asking them to take their eye off of the ball. That's a hard ball to take your eye off of. Would you guys agree? Right? It's hard, So, but if you can share with them that there is hope, that they don't have to be on that transactional treadmill. And that's why going to these destination events, that's why they're at Cabo. That's why why they're destination events? Because you can't dream in your hometown. Please write that down. You can't dream in your hometown, but you can dream when you're in a different environment. You can dream when you're spending time with other dreamers. Your job is just to get them curious. I just want to get very curious about the 8 different ways. I just want to get them curious. 8 different ways. What do you mean? Well, you know how you make your money on just selling homes? We have 7 additional ways. Well, what are they? That's a great question. And that's the first thing I want to talk about when we meet. You said tomorrow at 10, right? Boom, and that's it, right? It doesn't have to be a hard close, guys.
I think a big part of that also is modeling and in social media, going into the social media and sharing with the community what you're doing and what you're enjoying and how can I get a piece of that. And I like to see what Barry's doing. I want a part of that. How are you getting there? And so in addition to setting up those meetings, but modeling the life and living the lives that with the freedom that we all we're seeking when we got into real estate.
Yeah.
So
and that's a really good point. What you just said is a really good point, because you're not the only one that feels that way.
Right.
99% of the people that got into real estate, honestly, they came in here because they want the freedom.
All right, I'm gonna test this one. I've been trying out new ideas on the name for our organization, because you've been to the events. And what are some of the names? You've got honey badgers out there, right? What are some of the names of the groups that you've seen? Do you
Honey Badgers, the Freedom Group, Expert Advisors.
But I was just thinking about Freedom Finders or Freedom Builders. And Freedom Builders, I like the idea of freedom, because somebody struck me at this things in my head. It says, until you have this was actually a radio guy, and he said, until you have financial freedom, you don't really have freedom. And he was talking about America. He's saying, yeah, you might live in America, the home of the free, but until you have financial freedom, you're still a slave to the hour, to the clock. You're still a slave. You're no better. I mean, in some ways, you're much better off than if you're in other places, but you still aren't free, because you still have to get up and go do something you don't necessarily want to do when you want to do it. And I can tell you, we all know Brent, and my buddy Brent, he does not have to do anything.
He doesn't.
If he doesn't want to. Everything that, now he does a lot and he makes commitments, but they're all commitments that he made out of his choice, right?
Yes.
He probably works harder than all of us still, but at the same time, it's not like he has to. Like, I have to pay my mortgage. I have to do something to pay that mortgage. But right now, guess what? I don't have to pay my car payment. Why? Because EXP pays my car payment.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So anyway, so Freedom Builders, what do you think?
I like Freedom Builders. What was the other one? Freedom Finders?
Freedom Finders makes it sound like we haven't found it though. I was Freedom Fighters, but that sounded a little too aggressive.
Yeah, I think I like Freedom Builders.
Yeah, we are builders and investors, freedom investors. Anyway, we'll keep dialoguing.
Yeah, I think Freedom Builders sounds great.
But I want input from the organization. But anyway, we'll keep going. Let's stop. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Let's keep going. Did
No
you
worries. So
a bit?
So here's what I want to share with you guys. Okay, so please write this down. Information without application leads to fascination. Right? So we give you some ideas, right? But information with application leads to transformation. Okay? Information without application leads to fascination. Information with application leads to transformation. So I want to invite you to come a little closer to see what we're doing. Being a coach for Icon Coaching, we have 2 programs that we're going to be launching off. We have one called Attraction in Action. It's a 5-week program. I've taken it. I've been coached by Sean Kokoska now for 2 years. Barry's also been coached to him by him as well, and he's a great guy. He's going to spell out scripts and dialogues and processes and planning. Okay. And that's $497. He's given me permission to do a $50 off coupon, and I'll put it in the chat box in a minute. Okay. That's Attraction in Action. Great program for you to launch. Great program to stir you up to take action. Here's the thing. People are driven by inspiration and desperation. That's the 2 things. I want to inspire you. I want you to be inspired. Barry's saying he never has to make another car payment because now eXp is covering that. So that money that he has allocated for the car payment can be used for something else. Does that make sense? And the second program is Accelerated Breakthrough. And the Accelerated Breakthrough is a 16-week program on production, on selling real estate. So if the revenue part of it is the piece that you really need to work on, you could spend 16 weeks, right, with Sean Kokoska. And he's going to be spelling out what he did to sell hundreds of homes, right? He's going to be giving you bonus programs in his buyer's program. So a lot of different stuff. Those are 2 ways to get connected. I'm going to put them in the chat box right now. And then you guys can see it. And I will, whatever we can do to help, let me know. Has this been good? You guys get something out of this?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And let me tell you, I've been through one of those courses, and I've also had Sean as a coach. And the thing about Sean is he really gives you hands-on tools.
Yes.
He does it. It's not fluff. It's not conversation. It's tools, hands-on, that are ready to go. All right.
And just so you know, I've taken it before, but I'm going to take it again because sometimes it's just a repetition of being able to hear it,
Yeah,
So,
I think I might take Agent and Traction again.
yeah, guys, it's a great program. It's a great program. He's going to go over the wealth chart. He'll go over everything that you need to get your mindset. Because Barry said it best. It's like, you got to get that shift in your mindset. So awesome. Anything else that I can answer?
Hey, thank you very much, Joey. Anybody have anything else? Marina, do you have any questions? Nope. Okay. Thank you, Joey. We'll appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, you take care, guys. God bless you guys. Take care.
All right.